We just changed that. They'd like to keep them for the. Let me see if it's on. That's gonna be an interesting one, because Gary, Joe.
I do. I need you. You got a whole lot to give me.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have that development agreement ready?
Yeah, I just sent it to you.
Okay.
So. You gotta get a proper description. By legal now. I think I have most of it there.
Okay.
I don't have a
Didn't we have a
resolution.
property description on the last two?
Somewhere. I just gotta find one in the council things that. I've seen it. I've got a paper copy of it. I can't find the electronic. I should be able to insert that. one easy, so.
Purchase agreement with, for the satellite. Lot. There's a couple of things that we thought would take 60 days that are now probably gonna take longer for us to wrap up. before
They have an
closing.
issue.
There's a couple of things.
Other than their engineers for that.
It's more about canal relocation on the property that needs to be done before we close. Because they're basically just making, the Army Corps needs to be involved. And so they want a harmless agreement, essentially. We're comfortable with saying, we're good with them doing it across the property now before we turn it over. Which it's gonna be done in the next 2 or 3
But they're
weeks.
doing, down there.
Well, it's the Riverwood subdivision that's doing it, but we approved them to relocate the canal across our property. Before General RE was involved, but now. Yeah, we've drafted an agreement that's a whole harmless agreement saying, yeah, if the Army Corps comes back and says you need to get it from them, that's on us. not on-
I don't have a problem. If that's.
So it's just like the final.
Yeah. I mean, it basically just tell the council or tell us, we're extending it so that Riverwood can get that done before they close.
Cause basically our closing deadline based on our last extension is August 23rd. But the next council meeting to approve.
They got
The extension would be the 27th.
Did they?
So the idea, Jamie said, what if I just sign the agreement subject to.
Been there 3 months, and they moved here, they pulled it around the side, then they went camping, and they just got back to camping, so it's out front, they got the truck. So it's like, it's, wasn't what happened on the most. But, yeah, they.
That one had.
Sure. No, we don't have video. I'm putting a picture up of the council.
Is there sound and audio?
For all position, that's a lot.
It's streaming right now.
Pull it out and see what.
See if you can hear us babbling. You can hear us? Okay, I'll put it on mute then.
I'll live over the park.
Okay,
Yeah.
she's very loud. Should we turn her down? We must be up at 900. Good question. Yeah, whenever you want.
Lisa,
Oh,
you trying to scare people off?
No, the cameras aren't working.
Oh.
Okay, are you like to welcome everyone to our?
Yeah, whenever you want.
Lisa.
Nope, I can hear myself, just a second.
6 p.m. on.
There we go.
August 13th, 2023. We'll begin this meeting with the pledge of allegiance. I'll read that and then we'll have a prayer about the committee. Please rise and follow.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we come before thee with gratitude in our hearts for the beautiful valley that we live in and our wonderful city, and we're grateful for all the moisture we receive to continue to give us nourishment for our crops. And we're so grateful that we're able to be involved in our community and also that will help us to keep our hearts open and our minds open, that we can make the best decisions on behalf of all of us. We ask you blessing upon all of our military and our fire and our sheriffs, that they'll be watched over, as well as their family, that they can continue to provide that service for us. We're grateful for all that we have, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay, this evening, we've got one item on the agenda before we start with this public hearing on our tax proposal. I've asked Dave Larson, our city manager, if he would give us a brief explanation on our truth in taxation and the rate that we are proposing this year. So Dave, anytime you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just take a minute here. Does this work?
Should, if it's turned on.
It's turned on. I only have a few slides and just a brief overview here of what I want to discuss, and that is just give a quick review of how property tax works, give a reminder of the property tax history in the city and the rates that have been established, and then go over why are we discussing and going through truth in taxation this year. And so
Right, again. Go ahead.
Property tax basics. The math for property tax is very simple. The home value times the rate that the city establishes equals the amount of money that the city receives. That's pretty simple and basic math. It gets a little bit more nuanced from there with 45% exemption for primary residence versus commercial property being 100%, no exemption made for them, no discounted rate. But what is very interesting is the relationship between these, and there's a teeter-totter effect between the value of the home and the rate. And the way that it works is as the home value goes up, that the rate is automatically adjusted so that the money that the city receives remains constant. Normally you'd assume that the rate remains constant, and as the value goes up, then the amount the city receives would adjust accordingly. But that's not how property tax works. And so as we look at the tax rate history, you'll see that relationship over time. An important thing to note about this is that the county is the one that assesses the property value and then establishes a rate. It's called the certified tax rate. They propose that to the city, and the city council then makes the decision to either accept that certified tax rate or to do a different rate. And if the city council is considering a different rate than what the county proposes, then we go through this truth in taxation process. which is holding this public hearing and adopting the final budget and the final property tax rate in August rather than in June. Normally would do that. So the idea that the amount the city receives being held constant and the teeter-totter effect between the value and the rate is just a really key piece of how property tax works. So if you look at the last 25 years worth of property tax, you'll notice that relationship that as home values went up over time, the rate continued to decrease. This is the last 25 years. You'll notice in 2019 that jump up, the city went through truth in taxation in 2019 and published a 100% rate increase at that time. And going through truth in taxation 5 years ago, raised the rate to the same rate or thereabouts that it was in 93, 94. So the buying power that the city got back was to the mid-90s, and that was 5 years ago. And then to zoom in on the last 5 years, you can see how it's gone up and down a little bit, but that trend has been down again. The stars are the 3 years that the city went through truth in taxation over the last 5. 2019, again, was the large one. And then the rate decreased down that next year. However, the council had a conversation in 2019 of wanting to not let the rate erode over time and have to do another big property tax increase to get back to where we were. And the council said, well, let's look at every 2 or 3 years to do a truth in taxation and try to hold that rate more steady and not let it erode. In 2021, that 1522 number, the county stepped out of providing paramedic service and the city stepped into that. And so that rate included that change of service that the city took that over. The year after that, you'll notice went through truth in taxation, but the rate still went down. And that's a very interesting point in time because home values went up so dramatically. If the council had held the rate, then it would have looked like a 35% increase in the amount the city would have received, even if the rate had remained the same. And the council at that point said, we are not going to hold the rate, although that was a philosophical decision of not letting it erode. At the time said, we will let that go down, but we're not going to let it go all the way down to where the county had proposed it. And then last year you saw that come up a little bit again. And then this year, the rate that they're looking at, I should go back. It doesn't show it on this, but the rate that is being considered is 1,441, which you'll notice is the same rate as 2019. And the idea that the council discussed was bringing that rate back to where it was 5 years ago so that it doesn't continue to erode down. And why is that important? Well, this is all about maintaining a level of service that the community is used to. There's 3 main kind of points that I think are important. The budget this year is very much a maintenance budget. It was trying to maintain our levels of service. However, we're all experiencing this of inflation and costs going up for the same thing. And the city's experiencing that too. And so in order to battle that and not get caught with inflation costs going up to receive the same services, but not having revenue to cover that, if that was the case, then service would go down. So the idea was to maintain service. And then the last point that I want to bring up is that the idea is to not let the clock turn back and have that rate go down and down and down. By maintaining it at a certain level, then we maintain that buying power for the city to provide the services that are being discussed and that are expected from the community. So a brief explanation of how property tax works and where this rate is in relation to past history. So I'm happy to answer questions or the council can as well, but I hope that provides a little bit of context for our discussion.
I think that was good, Dave. Thank you very much. Okay, with that being said, then we'll take care of the one item we've got, and that's a public hearing on our proposed tax increase. We'll look for a motion to open the public hearing. We would ask the individuals to come up to the microphone and state their name and the city in which they reside. Will be given 3 minutes to remark. Give their remarks and please address the entire council and realize that the council may not respond.
Mayor, make a motion to open the public.
One second then.
A motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're open to the public hearing.
Mine is gonna be very short. Because I have some information. Paul Turner, South Weaver City. My public comments tonight have to do with a comparison of various property tax increases for the cities in Davis, Weaver, and Norfolk County that I've had available. This is just primarily for the city council staff. The rate for South Weaver at a $550,000 average home price. The percentage increase is 11.96. I also have numbers for Clearfield, Clinton, Syracuse, Fruit Heights, Farmington, Woods Cross, plus Morgan, Ogden, South Ogden, and Rock. The average percentage increase for the all 11 cities is 14.36%. So South Weaver's is below the average right now as far as what we're increasing. Several of the cities, such as Farmington and Fruit Heights, 27%, 17%, which process a 16% increase. Clinton has a 32% increase. So all in all, we're not doing too bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Ken Miller, I'm also in South Weaver City. I live over in the Bateman Estate over here. And, you know, when we were set up with our, I guess, homeowners association, they didn't include that, I guess, in city planning as far as roads, plowing roads and, so I mean, and we're paying the same amount of taxes everybody else in South Weaver. And I just don't think that's fair. I mean, we have to come up and pay our own, we have to resurface our own roads. We have to plow our own roads, we have to cut our own grass. You know, I just, to any type of tax increase right now, I don't think it's. You know, the rate, if your house value goes up and the rate stays the same, you're still paying more taxes. That's the way I look at it. That's, I'm just, please. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Understand this kind of thing. I talked to the Suffolk County people that my cabin went from 300,000 to 558,000. I said, what do you do with all the extra money? There's no extra money. When my taxes go up $1,500 a year, consecutive for 2 or 3 years, somebody's getting extra money. School board mainly. I think our city has a spending problem, not so much a shortage of money. I look around, I asked a couple of years ago, I said, why did the city or the fire department need 2 pickups? 2 pickups. I was told by Dave that when the state has a fire, we gotta be able to transport our guys there, and then they reimburse us for that. When our workers go there. I wonder, how did that work out in the last 2 years? We got any money to pay for those trucks? No, so we bought 2 trucks, and I see running around town and over in Ogden or Lake, I see them all over. If we need them. We got a brand new backhoe, we got the best equipment. Our mayor would probably love to have a new backhoe like that on his construction. I don't know if we need them. You know, kind of a separate issue. Couple of separate issues. The city was challenged to save water and make houses cheaper. We've got done absolutely nothing. There's the road, Golden Paths School goes from a 15-foot road to a 60-foot road, and then on that new subdivision, we went to a 70-foot, which costs the developer and the homeowners hundreds of thousands of dollars. They had to buy extra ground to get the extra 10-foot in width. They had to buy from stocks, which cost, I don't know how much, but it wasn't cheap, I know that. What are we doing to save water? We got a 7-foot park strip, which is a waste. It's a waste of space. It increases the cost of the homeowners, then you get non-usable ground. On that same road, it's open out in the school. There was no way for the kids to walk along that road. They walk on the road. Part of it they can walk in front of the yards, but part of it's just straight weeds. There needs to be something, just a gravel path or something, so the kids can walk without being on that road. It's dangerous. Talked to Wayne on it, kind of Fair Days, he says there are funds available, maybe when there's a safety issue, the city can apply for, but something needs to be done there. You know, we get taxed, we call them different things, we call them transportation fees, we call them storm sewer fees, they're taxes. So we're taxed the whole time. I just think we need to look at how we're spending our money, how we can better reduce our costs to the community and the citizens on how we spend our money. Thank you, I appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Michael Grant, 2622 Dearborn Drive, South Weaver. I was not planning on speaking, but something prompted me to speak. So thanks, Lynn, for your thoughts. I have been attending pretty much every single meeting here at City Council. And if these were my personal finances, I find it very hard to squeeze out any more savings, any more expenses. We are really doing as best as we can on a shoestring budget. We're not wasting any money. I'm sure there are some expenses that I'm not aware of. Other people should chime in time to time on a regular basis. But really we're squeezing every drop we can. So really there's no fluff there. I don't think we're wasting very much. Yeah, sure, sell the trucks and try to eke out as much money as you can out of those. And the other issues, the water lady, I think, came here twice, 14 months ago and 8 months ago. And I mean, park strip, yes, it's a pain, the weeds grow, but all that snow that gets pushed over by the snow plows gets absorbed into the groundwater, into aquifers through that park strip. So we put cement there, it's just gonna run out. So there are a bunch of issues that can be teased out and discussed in detail beyond the purview of the couple of minutes I have here. But I think I wish there were more people involved in listening and participating in the city. We would do a better job. I think that's lacking. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Gary Boatwright, also here in South Weaver, and Paul, you're not helping us.
Providing fact.
Sorry.
So, no, as I looked at this, $50 a year on a $550,000 home. Isn't that? I mean, it really isn't. I think most people in South Weaver could afford that. But the thing that I think we should wait on this is we have general RV. And that was sold to the city as a huge economic windfall. We're going to get a lot of tax revenue from that, which I think we will. I'm excited they're coming. They're not quite open yet. It looks like probably next year, I'm guessing, by their construction, but I'd say let's wait. Let's tighten our belts for a little bit. Let's wait to see what the impact that business will have on our city. And let other people pay our taxes. I mean, Riverdale does that, Ogden does that, Layton does that. I mean, all of us are probably paying Riverdale's taxes if that's what we all shop. So let's wait and let other people. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Anyone else have any comments?
I have one question. I don't understand the erosion.
Would you, sir, come up?
Just so we can hear on the recording, thanks.
My name's Alan Wilson, South Weaver. I don't understand the erosion that you were speaking of. Can you just explain it a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the amount the city receives is intended to remain constant, then the value of the home will go up normally through, natural inflation, right? The value of the home will increase. And the county will automatically propose a tax rate that will decrease in order to make it so the math remains the same at the end. So that the amount the city received doesn't change. So if you go back in time and look at the amount the city receives in property tax over time, it is very constant. It fluctuates a little bit when there's new growth, when there's new commercial businesses that come in or new homes that are built. So there's a growth component there, but the general populace believes that the tax rate stays the same. And as the value of the home goes up, then the city would receive more tax. And that's not how Utah property tax is defined. Does that answer it? Thank you. Yeah, you got it.
To expand on what you just said, so you're saying that the city automatically receives the same amount with the adjustment, with that degradation of the rate?
Yes.
Well, my taxes have gone up in the last 10 years a lot.
Sure. The city's not the only property tax entity. So we have no control over all the other entities, the school district, the county, the library, the mosquito abatement, right? All of the other tax.
So you're saying that nothing, it's been the same for the last 20 years then?
The city receives about 15% of the total tax bill. So when you pay a property tax bill, the city only gets about 15%. So the city, I'm talking city only. Those other entities make decisions on their tax rate. But the county provides the same information to them as well. But you're right, over time, more money goes to taxes, but most of the time that is because those individual taxing entities are making a decision to try to capture inflation. So if you look at your property tax notice, it lists all the different taxing entities and where your money goes. And the city's just one of those lines, yeah.
So even if we had chose to just hold the rate at that percentage that it was last year, we would still be holding this hearing because the county considers that an increase. Because they propose a decreased rate to hold the dollar flat. If we want the same percentage off of the value of whatever your home is, we still have to hold this public hearing and have, it's considered a tax increase.
Yeah, so that's a really good point. The amount that Paul published here of 11.96% of what the city published, that 11.96% is an increase rate based on the proposed certified tax rate, not what the city's tax rate was before, what it was last year. It's only about an 8% increase from last year's tax rate. But because the county proposed decreasing that down and the city's saying we would like to maintain it up here, that's what is published as an increase.
It's confusing. I understood property taxes the same way you did before I sat on city council 10 years ago, or 8 years ago. No,
Dinosaurs.
yeah,
Yeah, my name's Teresa Moss. I live in South Weaver. I live over here in the Salmonwood area. I know you guys are gonna do what you're gonna do. I get that. I've been to a couple of truth and taxations. We're just here to tell you what we feel like. It gets very frustrating. I've been here that I saw the transportation tax, which was supposed to bridge that gap of property taxes, but yet we're still paying for it. So my frustration is that our utilities are going up, but also our property taxes are going up, so it doesn't seem to bridge that gap. We're paying for a couple of things to our utility bills that we also pay for on our property taxes, which is not city. So that's my frustration, and that's what I wanted to bring to you guys. That just frosts me that we're paying those entities 2 and 3 different places. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Becky Moreno, South Weaver. I've heard rumors that the new RV sales place that was going in is going to get a tax break for 10 years. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. But if it is true, then why do we bring commercial in like that and then not tax them? Like us, so I get taxed, like Ken here said, we're being taxed. And I know what happened with the developer over there. It would be nice if the city would take it over because I say pay the same amount of taxes everybody else does to have their roads taken care of. So that's just something. And also, you put these public notice signs out. Well, you have to have a magnifying glass to see what it says. I mean, we walked by, my neighbor and we had to get like this far away in order to see them. Doesn't tell anybody anything. So you might want to consider doing something different. And I know people get emails, you know, that kind of thing, but think about that. And I'd like to know more about the RV, if they're getting a tax break.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vicky. Mayor, can we address that?
We can.
Do you want to do it now or after the?
I thought we closed today. Anyone else? No.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate all of your comments and we do take them under consideration and we discuss those. I think the important thing to realize here, and Dave did bring this up, is that all we're trying to do here is to maintain the services that we have. We're not trying to increase anything at all, more employees, more trucks or more equipment or anything. We're trying to maintain what services we provide right now for the city, and that's what we have always tried to do. And we are trying different avenues on making sure that we are spending citizens' money properly. And the lease program we have on a lot of our equipment, we're going to find out. We've started that here a few years ago. And we're just to our first rotation on that equipment. And hopefully it's going to come out the way that we plan on it. And if so, then it's going to benefit the city quite a bit. Yeah, we've got some new equipment that we're using. But because we're able to buy it at the price that we can, we are a city through the state procurement system. We get such a good price on that. And if we rotate that at a certain amount of years that we use that, we can actually come out either break even with that, or we can come out a little bit into our advantage, and that's what we're hoping to do, and we'll find that out shortly with this first set of items that we rotate. On the property on the tax for the RV dealership, yes, they are getting an exemption on their taxes, but it's not on sales tax. They're still paying full sales tax, which is what will come to our city. They will get a reduction on their property tax for the property, but it's still going to be on that property if it was taxed at just open property, nothing being built there. And now we've got an RP dealership, commercial property, that property tax is higher on that than if it was set as vacant property. So we're still, even at that, giving a reduction, we're still getting more taxes on that property, but sales tax, there's no reduction on sales tax. We'll be getting full sales tax on
So they are paying property tax on what the current value of the property is.
Right.
Just not on the increased value after construction.
Right.
But then they will start paying it after a period of time.
How long is that due to happen? Any idea?
what's that?
To open,
It's 10 years.
It's a
That's
10 year,
10.
it's a 10 year.
10-year safety.
It would be $200 or $300 a year.
no, it's not as agricultural as commercial property. And yeah, basically what they bought the property for, which was a significant amount of money. It's much, much higher than what it was getting paid for. It was agricultural property. So we are getting an increase.
And that's.
Otherwise, it would just be
And the
sitting
bulk
there for the next 10
of
years.
that goes to the county or other agencies.
Yeah, only 15% comes here. Where sales tax, we get a lot more of that.
Really, that's not costing us anything to speak of.
It's actually, it's that we're
That
getting, we're
costs the city
getting more.
any-
We're actually getting a
Yes.
little more,
Mhm,
Yes, you will.
mhm.
but we will be getting the sales tax,
That
and
helps.
that's what's gonna really help our city.
And I understand this is a comment that the gravel pits are decreasing where they have been paying quite a bit into the cities over the years. There isn't that much gravel up there for mine now. I think Parsons bring most of their material in and then reprocess it and ship it out. What we get from them is gonna go down.
That's
That's
part,
correct.
that's part of our problem. It's decreasing well over 100,000.
Yeah, same amount of dust. That's going off this hill right here.
Almost all of the mining operation is.
So yeah, we were getting royalties from the tonnage that was taken out of there. 20%. And that's been cut back quite a bit, so. We are losing that. Okay, anyone?
Just because of the way that it was presented by Dave and, I just want to make sure that everybody knows. The city council is not united on this. If you go back and watch the last meeting, we had a very long, hard discussion about it. And not all of us are thinking that this is the right time to raise or even hold the taxes that are raised. We have a lot of work that still needs to be done in my opinion, to be able to say, I think we need to raise the rates. So this, wanted everyone, to know, it is not.
Well, there will be further discussion, and then our final budget will be approved on Tuesday, August the 27th, 6 p.m. right here. So you can come back then, you can come back then. Anything else? Motion to adjourn, we have a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's